Everybody loves the hype of starting, but tell me, when was the last time you actually crossed the finish line? Because starting makes you excited, but finish you unforgettable. Most people love the excitement of the beginning. The first day of a new goal feels fresh, full of hope, and loaded with energy. You tell everyone about it. You buy the new gear, download the app, get the planner, and you feel unstoppable. That first spark is powerful. It makes you believe you can do anything. But here's the truth. The easy part. Starting doesn't require much. It doesn't demand proof of character. It doesn't ask for sacrifice, and it doesn't test your endurance. Takes is a burst of excitement and a decision in the moment. Anyone can do that. But finishing, that's where the real difference is made. That's where you find out what you're really made of. The moment the initial excitement fades, the work begins to feel heavy. It's no longer about the thrill of a new journey. It's about showing up when the fun is gone. This is why so many people start strong and fade out before they even get close to the finish line. They confuse the energy of the beginning with the stamina needed to complete the mission. Finish something, you separate yourself from the crowd. You prove that you're willing to do what most people won't. Starting puts you in the game, but finishing makes you a contender. Truth is, most people live their whole lives stuck in a cycle of starting over and over again without ever tasting the satisfaction of completion. They have 100 half-done projects, were abandoned halfway, and dreams left in the someday folder. But those who finish, they live differently. They know the power that comes from pushing all the way to the end. Full of starters, you see them everywhere. The gym packed in January, the excitement around a new business idea, the sudden decision to learn a new skill. But a few weeks or months later, it's empty. The business idea is forgotten and the new skill is left untouched. Starting is a spark, but finishing is the fire that changes everything. Fire can only be lit by those who are willing to stick with it. When the excitement is gone and all that's left is the grind. Dreams are beautiful. Without discipline, they're just ideas floating in your head. Anybody can have a vision of what they want their life to look like. You can picture the house, the career, the travel, freedom, the health, and the success. You can imagine yourself there so clearly that it almost feels real. But imagination alone doesn't move you forward. It's the discipline, the daily commitment to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. That turns that vision into reality. Excitement can get you started. Discipline is the fuel that keeps you moving when the excitement fades. Too many people rely on motivation to carry them, but motivation is unreliable. You'll wake up ready to conquer the world. Other days you'll wake up tired, distracted, or doubting yourself. That's when discipline steps in. Discipline says, I don't care how you feel. Anyway, it's the ability to keep going even when the circumstances aren't perfect, even when nobody's watching, and even when there's no instant reward. Every time you keep a promise to yourself without discipline, your dreams will always remain just dreams. Bursts of progress followed by long stretches of inactivity. You'll find yourself restarting the same goal over and over again because you never developed the habit of consistency. Discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't give you the rush of adrenaline that comes from starting something new. It's the quiet, repetitive, unglamorous work that, over time, it's extraordinary results. The people who achieve their goals aren't always the most talented, the smartest, or the most gifted. Just the ones who are willing to keep showing up long after the excitement has worn off. They follow their schedules, stick to their plan, and push through their low days. That dreams are built in the small, ordinary actions done day after day. They don't wait for the perfect mood or the perfect timing. They create progress through discipline. Trade excitement for discipline. You give yourself the power to keep moving forward until the dream you imagine is the life you're actually living. When you finish what you start, something far more valuable than the goal itself, you gain confidence. Not the kind of fake confidence that comes from talking about your plans or showing off on social media, but real, shakable confidence that comes from keeping your word to yourself. Every time you cross a finish line, no matter how small the goal, you're sending yourself a powerful message. I can trust me. And when you can trust yourself, you no longer need the world's approval to keep going. You know deep down that if you say you're going to do something, find a way to make it happen. This kind of confidence changes everything. It makes you bolder in setting new goals because you've proven to yourself that you can complete them. It allows you to take risks others avoid because you're not afraid of the process. You've already walked through the discomfort, the setbacks, hard days before, and you came out on the other side. That proof becomes a part of who you are. You stop questioning whether you're capable and start expecting yourself to follow through. Build through finishing is also contagious. The people around you see that you're consistent. They notice that you don't just talk, you deliver. Reputation opens doors that remain closed to those who quit halfway. Opportunities are often given to people who have shown they can be trusted to see things through to the end. Greatest effect is the way it rewires your mind. Finishing creates a feedback loop. The more you finish, the more you believe you can finish. And the more you believe you can finish, push yourself to start things you once thought were too big or too difficult. It becomes a cycle of growth, courage, and accomplishment that builds momentum over time. Most people think confidence comes first and then action follows, but the truth is it's the other way around. Action creates confidence. Finishing is one of the most powerful actions you can take. The moment you start keeping your promises to yourself, your confidence stops depending on feelings, compliments, validation from others. It becomes rooted in something no one can take away, the evidence of your own consistency and strength. Finishing is never about waiting for the perfect moment when you feel motivated and ready. If that were the case, almost nothing in life would ever get done. Feelings are unpredictable. You're full of energy. The next day you're drained. One morning you wake up ready to work. The next morning you just want to stay in bed. If you tie your progress to how you feel in the moment, stop the moment it gets uncomfortable. That's why finishing has nothing to do with emotions and everything to do with making a decision. A decision means you've already chosen the outcome. Simply act in alignment with that choice, no matter what's going on around you. It's like telling yourself, this is happening, period. When you make that kind of commitment, strip away the option to quit. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop giving yourself permission to take the easy way out. Instead, you push forward because you've decided the goal matters more than the temporary discomfort of the moment. When you operate from decision rather than emotion, you develop a level of mental toughness that carries into every part of your life. You start doing the work, whether it's convenient or not, whether you're inspired or not. You show up when it's raining, when you're tired, when nobody's there to cheer you on. And every time you do, you strengthen that discipline muscle that makes finishing possible. Easy to move forward when you're excited. It's easy to keep going when the results are showing up fast. Real test and the real transformation happens when you keep going despite feeling like you're making no progress. That's the gap where most people give up. They tell themselves they'll start again when they feel ready, but that feeling rarely comes back with the same intensity as the beginning. Those who finish are the ones who don't wait for that spark to return. They keep walking until they reach the end, no matter how small the steps feel. Finishing is about choosing to honor your commitment above your comfort. It's deciding that your word to yourself is not up for debate. The outcome you want is worth more than the excuses your emotions try to hand you. The decision locks you in, and once you're locked in, the finish line becomes inevitable. Challenges aren't signs that you're on the wrong path. They're proof that you're moving forward. Every goal worth pursuing will test you. There will be days when your energy runs low. Tasks feel heavier than you expected. And when your mind starts whispering that maybe it's not worth it, fatigue will creep in. Discouragement will try to take root. Bats will appear out of nowhere. This is the part of the journey most people aren't prepared for. And it's where the majority stop. But the truth is, these moments are not there to break you. They're there to shape you. When you encounter a challenge, it forces you to dig deeper than you thought you could, that you find solutions instead of excuses. It pushes you to adapt, to grow stronger, and to become more resourceful. Without challenges, never develop the resilience needed to hold onto the success you're chasing. The process of overcoming them is part of the training. It's building the mental and emotional muscles you'll need not just to reach the goal, but to sustain it once you have it. It's easy to keep moving when the path is clear. Every step goes according to plan, but growth rarely happens in the smooth stretches. Growth happens when the road is rough, when you're unsure if you can make it. Part of you is screaming to stop, and yet you take one more step. Those small victories, the days you keep going despite the wait, are the moments that define you. People who finish their goals aren't the ones who never face obstacles. They're the ones who learn how to keep moving through them. They see challenges as part of the process They understand that every delay, every failure, every frustrating setback is preparing them for the final stretch. Instead of letting difficulty drain their motivation, sharpen their determination. Every challenge is a test asking one question: how badly do you want it? And the only way to answer is by showing up again and again, no matter how tired or weighed down you feel. Each time you push through, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than the struggle. Strength becomes the very thing that carries you to the finish line. Every time you finish something you set out to do, you create undeniable proof that you are capable. Theory or a hope, it's evidence. You can look back at that completed goal and say, this proof becomes a powerful tool because it's not based on opinions or wishful thinking. It's built on real actions you took and results you produced. Evidence is hard to argue with, even in your own mind. When you have proof, you silence the doubts that used to hold you back. Once told you, maybe you can't, gets weaker each time you finish. Instead, you start to hear, you've done it before. Do it again. And that shift changes how you approach everything. You no longer stand at the edge of a new challenge wondering if you're capable. You step in with the knowledge that you've already faced the grind, the setbacks, and the long nights, and you still cross the line. Proof also builds momentum. Goal makes the next one feel more achievable. It becomes a chain reaction where each finish fuels the belief and determination to tackle the next challenge. And over time, Clutcher proof becomes your personal record of victory, something you can draw strength from when the journey feels uncertain. Without proof, it's easy to get stuck in self-doubt. Talk about your goals, plan them out, and even start working toward them. But when things get difficult, the lack of past evidence can make quitting feel easier. Once you've finished something, quitting doesn't feel right anymore because you've already experienced the satisfaction of completion. Feeling of walking away with the result in your hands, and you don't want to trade that for the disappointment of giving up. Proof changes your identity. Seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who delivers. This shift impacts not only how you see yourself, but also how others see you. To recognize you as reliable, consistent, and capable. And that reputation isn't just talk, it's backed by results. The more proof you collect, shakeable your confidence becomes, and the more certain you are that you can take on bigger, harder, and more meaningful goals. Ideas are everywhere. Everyone has a list of things they want to do, dreams they want to chase, and changes they want to make. You hear people talking about starting a business, writing a book, getting in shape, a new skill all the time. The problem isn't a lack of ideas. It's a lack of action. There's a huge difference between being a dreamer and being a doer. Someday, world waiting for the perfect time, the perfect mood, or the perfect set of circumstances before they start. Doers take the first step and keep moving. How imperfect the conditions are. Being a doer means you understand that nothing happens until you execute. Plans are important, but a plan without action is just a wish. Every detail research for weeks and talk endlessly about what you're going to do. But until you take consistent steps toward the goal, nothing changes. Execution is what separates the people who make progress from the people who stay stuck. Doers also embrace the fact that the process won't be perfect. They know mistakes will happen. They always go as planned, and obstacles will show up along the way. Instead of letting those moments stop them, they adapt, adjust, and keep moving forward. For all the lights to turn green before they start driving, they start and deal with the red lights when they come. The truth is, you can't think your way to success. Your way there. Every finished goal is the result of action, not just intention. Being a doer means showing up on the days you're motivated and on the days you're not. Whether it feels easy or exhausting, it's about choosing progress over perfection and momentum over hesitation. When you shift from being a dreamer to being a doer, start building a track record of completion. Each goal you finish reinforces the belief that you can make things happen, which fuels you to take on even more. Over time, you become known as someone who follows through, someone who doesn't just talk about what they want, they make it real. Difference between people who watch life happen and people who create the life they want. The moment you cross the finish line on a goal, the achievement itself is only part of the reward. Yes, hitting the target feels good, but what truly changes your life is the person you had to become in the process. toward that goal required growth, learning new skills, building discipline, overcoming self-doubt, and pushing through resistance. Those changes don't disappear when the goal is complete, shaping who you are and how you approach everything in life. The process forces you to level up in ways you didn't expect. You became more patient because progress was slower than you wanted. Maybe you developed resilience because you had to recover from setbacks you never saw coming. You learned to manage your time better because the goal demanded more focus than you were used to giving. These qualities become part of your character and they carry over into future challenges. That comes from finishing a goal often outweighs the goal itself. A medal, a certificate, a number in a bank account. Those are symbols of success. Real value is in the confidence you've built, the habits you've developed and the mindset you've strengthened along the way. Those are tools you can apply to any area of your life. The initial achievement is behind you. Even the struggles become valuable. The moments when you wanted to quit but didn't, the days you felt defeated but kept moving, you figured out when there seemed to be no solution. Those experiences teach you things no book or course can. They give you the kind of wisdom that only comes from doing the work yourself. The identity you build through finishing becomes more important than the specific goals you achieve. You start to see yourself as capable, persistent, and unstoppable. No matter what challenge you take on, you have what it takes to see it through because you've already proven it to yourself. Self-belief opens the door to bigger dreams and bolder decisions because you're no longer limited by who you used to be. You're driven by who you've become in the process. Doesn't hand out recognition for good intentions. Nobody remembers the person who almost finished, who nearly made it, or who talked about what they were going to do, but never followed through. Success stories and legacies are built on completion. The names that inspire people, the achievements that get written about, that live on. They all belong to those who finished what they started. Starting something can get you noticed for a moment, but finishing is what cements your place. When you cross the finish line, you create a result that can't be taken away. It's proof that you stayed committed from beginning to end. And that kind of consistency earns respect. Trust finishers because they've demonstrated they can be relied on, whether it's in sports, business, art, or personal goals. Who are remembered are the ones who push through to the end, no matter the cost. Finishing also creates impact. A half-written book never changes lives. Business idea never launched never helps customers. A goal abandoned halfway never inspires anyone. But when you finish, your work can influence others, solve problems, set an example for what's possible. Your willingness to go all the way becomes a silent challenge to others to do the same. Finishers stand out because they prove that persistence beats talent. When talent doesn't follow through, you don't have to be the fastest, the smartest, most skilled. You just have to keep going when others stop. Over time, that simple decision to finish becomes the difference between fading into the background and leaving a lasting mark. Finisher builds a reputation that opens doors. People want to work with those who deliver, not those who disappear halfway through. Opportunities flow toward those who are known for bringing things to completion because reliability is rare. When you finish, you're telling the world that you are dependable. Honor your commitments and that you can be counted on when it matters. In the end, legacies aren't written about people who started the race. They're written about those who crossed the line. The world remembers finishers because finishing is proof of character, proof of resilience, proof that you were willing to see something through when it would have been easier to quit. Finishing just about completing a task. It's about proving to yourself that you have the strength, discipline, and resilience to see things through. Every goal you finish builds a stronger version of you, and that version is unstoppable. So don't just start strong, finish stronger.